Okay, so thank you so much for doing this interview with us. I absolutely loved Mama Bears. I cried so hard watching it. It was so
Aw.
beautiful. So I guess my goes into my first question. What inspired you to make it?
I was inspired by a lot of things. The main motivation for me for making the film was that I wanted to start dialogues between Christians and the LGBTQ community that would be transformative. Um, I came to understand how impactful just knowing about the Mama Bears could be when a dear friend of mine, whose name is Scott Ellis Loring, I just come up with the idea for the film, and I told him about it, and he burst into tears because his mom had rejected him because she was a Jehovah's Witness when he came out, and the wound, even though it was 30 years later, was still fresh. And the idea of just spreading this movement of these Mama Bears far and wide was so appealing and so important to him that he just offered me the money that I needed to shoot the trailer that I was going to use to raise more funds for the film. Here's $4,000. Please go out and shoot these women.
Uh, and I do want to know, how did you come to the decision to tell the stories of the Shapley, Cunningham, and Morris families for your documentary?
Well, Kimberly and Kyi are actually the genesis of the film because I first learned about the Mama Bears from a Huffington Post article about Kimberly and Kyi, in which she mentioned that she went from Tea Party Republican to LGBTQ activist of the year in her home city, or actually maybe it's in all of Texas. But anyway, she mentioned that she found the support of the Mama Bears invaluable in that journey, that radical transformation that she went through. And she mentioned that there were 2,000 Mama Bears, and I was very intrigued. Now, 5 years later, there are 32,000 Mama Bears.
Wow.
So the other reason why I really want this film to get out there is because they are a movement, and I want this film to help spread that movement of love.
Awesome. Now I know each family in the film has or had deep roots in their church community before being shunned or turned away for choosing their current path. What do you believe the non-secular community could learn from watching this documentary to improve their outlook on the LGBTQ community?
I think that what we all need to learn is to stop judging people and accept people where they are, as they are, and learn to love them as they are. And one of the things that Kimberly says that's really important is that she realized that it was one of the things that loving someone meant finding out what they need from you, not what you think they need, not what you want to give them, but what do they need to feel loved, right? And so if we were all focused on love as the guiding force in our lives, then that will shape our actions, and we will come from deeper compassion and understanding. I feel like, we want to make it complicated, but it's really very simple. It really comes down to, are you operating from a place of hatred or a place of love? I started with Kimberly, and then I ended with them. So let me keep going. So I found the Shapleys through an article in the Huffington Post that mentioned the Mama Bears, and that's how I found out about the Mama Bears and became intrigued with their story. Initially, I wasn't actually going to include Kimberly and Kyi in the film because they had had a lot of exposure, and I thought, well, perhaps their story's been told, But the ACLU put out a call for films for a series on transgender rights. And because they were actively fighting the bathroom bill, I submitted them, and the ACLU commissioned them. And then they gave me the 5 or 6 days of footage that we shot. So they were in the film. With Sarah, she actually, first Free Mom Hugs tour that ends at Stonewall, and then where she goes to the homeless shelter for LGBTQ people in Philadelphia, that was the first things that we shot. Like when I told my friend about the idea, I was saying to him, I need some money because this woman is coming to New York. I was living in New York at the time. She's coming to New York and we have to shoot her. We have to get it, So he gave us the money to shoot the trailer and the sample and shoot and edit it. So that's how I heard about Sarah, because I had reached out to Liz Dyer, who runs one of the Facebook groups for Mama Bears, and she put me in touch and she told me about Sarah. And then with Tammy, I'd been looking for a Black family to include in the film from the beginning, because as an African American woman, I know how complex the relationship is or can be between African Americans and the LGBTQ community, Christian African American and the LGBTQ community. And so I really wanted Black people to see themselves in this story. I really wanted to start dialogues within Black communities. And so I'd been actively searching. And unfortunately, the Mama Bears groups are predominantly white. So it was a challenge. And I kept reaching out to Liz saying, don't you have any Black moms? And she said, we're trying to get some Black moms. We ain't got no Black moms. So finally, I saw a post from Tammy one day and I thought, oh my goodness, the Black Mama Bear. Well, she turned out not to be a mama bear, to be a mom, but not a mama bear. Yeah, but she told me this incredible journey of hers. And I thought, let's explore that. And so that's how I found the 3 subjects. And in terms of my favorite moments with them, there are so many, it's kind of hard to narrow them down, but I just love seeing Tammy blossom. I just love it. I love when I came back and she had fallen in love with the woman and was happy. Yeah. Right. So that made me really happy. With Sarah and Parker, I loved going to Laramie with them and having them face their fears, and seeing how healing that was for them. And with Kimberly and Kai, I loved the fact that they moved. It's got Kai into a better school. So it was wonderful to go to school with her and see her thriving, and see how that move had really lightened some of the burden. Although, of course, now it's back, right? I mean, it never fully left because they've been under attack the whole time, right? Kai has been literally advocating for trans people since she was 5. She's 11 now.
Wow. Oh, I know. It's so heartbreaking to watch her go through that. So was there any cut footage that you wish you could have included?
There's a whole 2 or 3 other movies worth of footage, at least 2 or 3 movies, but at the end of the day, I feel like, I had this wildly ambitious plan for the movie that I was going to make. And that's pretty much always how it is, right? You're like, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do this. And then reality sets in and you're like, well, we only have time for, and we have to have, each character has to have a complete story arc. And so that's like, let's see, do the math, 30 minutes each. Ooh, that's 90 minutes right there. I guess all those pastors that you interviewed and all those other LGBTQ people and all those other mama bears, right? But, and as part of our impact campaign, we're going to edit a lot of short videos so that we can use that footage to keep the conversations going and to, have a more robust video presence for the rest of the people that have something to say, something to share. Like I interviewed a lot of affirming clergy and had them dig into the scripture that people use to justify their hatred of LGBTQ people, or their disapproval or whatever, rejection of LGBTQ people, right? So there's that. And there's some of the leading thinkers in the evangelical community who have changed, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff that didn't make it into the film, but a lot of it will be used.
I'm so glad to hear that. Because I can tell that there must have been so much. So now, just as much as there was cut footage during filming, were there any moments that really just kind of like affected you, hit you the hardest?
There are a couple of moments that were transformative for me. One was talking to someone and having them say, talking to a queer person and having them say, it took me 5-10 years to come to terms with my sexuality. Why would I expect my parents to do it overnight? That has stayed with me, to this day, because it gave me much more compassion for the parents' journey. I think we've seen a lot of films about the LGBTQ struggle and community and warriors and heroes, but we haven't seen much about the parents, if anything, right? Every once in a while, you may see a parent within a film, but not films that are focused on the journey of the parents. And I think that's not fair to the parents. Not that there haven't been movies about them, but just that in the equation that you would have compassion for a queer person going through this journey, but not for their parents. Because as a parent, your job, your first job is to protect your child, right? And the moment your child comes out as anything that's not binary, right, then you know that they're at risk. Even a lot of queer people don't want their kids to be queer because they know how hard it is, right? So that's just a natural parental reaction that can get villainized, right? People have to work through, you know, and one of the reasons why I think Tammy and Tanita's story is so important is because Tanita, Tammy's mom, represents most people, you know, and her insistence on getting the message out that you can love your kid and not agree with them means the world to me. She pulled out of the film, but she never really pulled out. She didn't want to continue filming, but she never said, don't use my footage. And even though she had signed a release, if she had ever said that, I would have pulled the footage, right? But she never did because it was important to her. She was under this pressure. She was also getting her doctorate degree. There were a lot of things in her life that led to that decision to drop out, not only the religious pressure, right? But she never pulled herself from the movie. I think part of it is because she wanted that message. And part of it is because she probably realized that if she pulled out, Tammy would have probably been pulled out too. You know, just being realistic. And she didn't want to do that to her child. And she knew how important it was for Tammy to share her story, you know.
I'm glad Tammy's story was shared. Now, I know watching those mama bears, because you went to some of the gatherings, it seemed like such like a fun gathering of all these women. Are they as fun in real life as you portray them on camera, or even more so?
They are just as fun and probably more so. You know, they're it's interesting because I think that the same sort of zeal that they had for their religion that made them evangelical, they take that energy and they apply it to this issue, right? To this community, to this work. And so they are all about it. They are all in, right? And they are ferocious. You know, like I don't know. Do you watch Schitt's Creek? Have you ever seen Schitt's Creek?
I've seen a couple episodes, yeah.
So I don't know if you ever saw that, but so one of the things that the Mama Bears do is they thank people who have present positive portrayals or do good work for the LGBTQ community. So they wrote a letter to the cast of Schitt's Creek thanking them, you know, and the producer read it on camera and they all were crying, you know, and like that.
I'm about to cry. Oh my gosh.
That's the kind of stuff that they do, thanking them, you know, and then 1,100 moms signed it, you know, and they're like, oh, that's so beautiful, right? Or they write letters of support to people. They did the same thing when this guy was on Making It. What is his name? Oh, shit, I don't want to forget his name. Let me look it up. But anyway, this gay man was on. Where's my glasses? Sorry.
No, it's okay. See, I have to wear mine, otherwise I'm blind.
This gay man was on Making It. I'm not going to tell the story if I can't find his name. Was it Jeffrey? Damn. Well, anyway, they're amazing. They are amazing. And we just had a Mama Bears meetup here in Austin during South by Southwest, and they showed up in full force. And I don't know if you saw the press conference that we held on Monday on the stairs of the Capitol, but the people behind us, most of them were Mama Bears.
I did not, but I will have to find that footage now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Now, since Mama Bears is featured this year at South by Southwest, I wanted to know what other films you were looking forward to seeing at South by Southwest this year.
Girl, it has been such a whirlwind that I'm just starting to be able to see films because between the screening, so we had a screening on Sunday and two screenings on Monday and a press conference on Monday.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, so it's been a whirlwind. I did get to see my dear friend Ileana Sosa's film, What We Leave Behind, which was
That is
just
such a great film. Oh my goodness.
so beautiful. Yes, I got to see that. Uh, uh, I saw Bad Acts before I actually came here, and that's beautiful. I want to see Master of Light, but I missed the screenings here, so hopefully I'll catch it on the circuit. Um, there's a lot of films, but unfortunately, there's only so many hours in a day, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and I also so my DP has 4 films in the festival, Amy Bench. 1 she directed and 3 she shot. So I was trying to see one of the films she shot last night and didn't get to see that. It's called Lover Beloved. So I want to see that. There's a lot of great films in the festival, but I missed most of them. I did see the opening night film, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Just visually stunning and so funny. Really good film. So yeah, I sometimes I feel like, you come to a film festival to schmooze and to promote, and you hardly get to see movies.
Now, aside from Mama Bears, are there any new projects you're working on or that are kind of in the works?
Yes. In 2020, I shot another feature-length documentary about the work that the co-founders of the Black Voters Matter Fund, Cliff Albright and Latasha Brown, were doing to galvanize voters in the South, or actually throughout the country. And then we had to scramble and raise more money after the primary election because of the Georgia Senate runoff. And so we shot until January 6th of 2021. And that will be out as soon as we get some more money.
Oh, well, I can't wait to see it.
Thank you.
Daresha, final question. What do you hope viewers take away from watching Mama Bears?
My hope is that when people walk out of the theater from watching Mama Bears, after they dry their tears, they're galvanized to help change this world, to make this world a more loved, as Liz says, a kinder, safer place for the LGBTQ community.